Buff Nation, as you know, there's a lot going on today. Of course, we got the election, we got the college football playoff rankings dropping this evening for the first time this year. The NFL trade deadline just passed, but that does not mean we're not going to get any Colorado recruiting news. This is very interesting. I'll get to it here in just a minute, but it's being reported that Julian Lewis scheduled to make a visit to Bloomington, Indiana this weekend. It's not gonna be happening. Very, very interesting. So again, this is one report. We're gonna break it all down. I'll pull up the tweet here in a minute, but I do want to give everybody a shout out. Please be sure to like and subscribe. Let me know your comments, or let me know your thoughts in the comments. I love having a discussion with you guys. So let's go ahead and get this party started. I'll go through my little spiel, and then of course I'll get to what you guys have to say. Shout out to my friend Russ, who's in the chat from Buffs News Weekly. He was the first one to text me this, and I thought that, hey, I'll come on here and talk about it. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So here we are. Let me change this up a little bit. Yeah, maybe this looks a little bit better. So Jim Coyle, he is the publisher of the Hoosier.com, so a local beat reporter. The way that Russ described Jim Coyle to me is like somebody from DNVR is reporting something. So more local. And I feel like usually local media is the first to know about something when something changes or something's about to break. Normally, it is the beat reporters who get wind of this first, and he came in here with a tweet 2 hours ago saying, "For what it's worth, I have been told that Julian Lewis will not be in Bloomington on Saturday for the Indiana football game versus Michigan." Wow. And this is pretty surprising because it has kind of been a three-team race this fall for Julian Lewis. As you know, Auburn used to be a part of it a little bit, but they kind of went in a different direction. USC, he is still committed to USC, and I'll get to my thoughts on USC here in just a minute. But Colorado obviously has made a substantial push for him, along with other USC commit offensive tackle Cardi Smith. And earlier this year, Julian Lewis had a schedule visited, if I remember correctly, to visit Indiana earlier this year. He canceled that and then was going to visit for this Hoosiers versus Michigan game. So that was always the report. That was always the expectation. But now this is very interesting that Jim Coyle is coming out here again, a guy who covers Indiana locally for the Hoosier.com, coming out and saying that he's been told that Julian Lewis is out. He's not coming this weekend. And so you have to be wondering what's going on, because they do have a senior quarterback similar to where the Buffs are at right now with Shedeur. And as you heard on Well Off Media, he's getting ready to go to the league, right? As much as I would love for him to burn a COVID year, that is just not likely to the slightest degree, right? But you have to be wondering, is this because Curt Cignetti is going to be getting interest to be coaching at another program this next coming year? That's what I'm wondering. That's why I'm thinking, or I'm trying to put myself in the mind of Julian Lewis. Why would you cancel this visit? Maybe there is just some momentum with him being somewhere else. Granted, I still would have expected him to take this visit, which can only mean one thing. I think things are looking really good for the Buffs right now, man. That's how I see this piece of information. I think things are looking very, very good for the Buffs. Unless it's going to be reported that he's visiting at another time. But I mean, Indiana, Michigan, that's a huge game. That's a huge game. Like, that's where you want to be. So I find it very interesting that he is not going to be there this weekend. This is the second time this season, if I remember correctly, that he's canceled or postponed a visit at Indiana. And it makes you wonder, okay, does Curt Cignetti have his eyes on going somewhere else? You know, it's so funny. People are have always been talking to me on this channel about how just wait till Coach Prime leaves. Just wait till Coach Prime leaves. I don't know, man. I think that there are higher odds that somebody like Curt Cignetti is leaving Indiana than Colorado leaving, or than Coach Prime leaving Colorado this year. That's just how I sense it. And then you got to be wondering, what's happening with USC. I've said this coming into the season that I don't think Lincoln Riley is a true leader. Yes, his track record with quarterbacks and their NFL success is undeniable, but USC is not looking good right now. And if they lose to Nebraska, oh man, again, right now, Clay Helton during this period of time for Lincoln Riley was more successful in terms of wins and losses than Lincoln Riley has been right now. And Clay Helton is kind of viewed as one of the worst USC coaches of all time. And then you saw this piece of news come out today that Miller Moss is going to be benched. They're going with, I might pronounce his name incorrectly, I'm sorry, Jaden Mayava to start in 2 weeks versus Nebraska. So again, this is a program with Lincoln Riley. They brought over that defensive coordinator from UCLA. You're thinking that they're going to have a pretty strong showing, or that was the national expectation. You have guys tweeting out saying that I'm paraphrasing, but they can't wait to get away from Lincoln Riley, or that Lincoln Riley's the real issue, not the quarterback. What is going on in Los Angeles? It sure seems like a program's culture is unraveling. And I think, again, credit to my Oklahoma Sooner fan friends. That was one thing, although it was frustrating, I think, though, for them at the time to see Lincoln Riley just go up and leave for the USC payday. In retrospect, I think that their program is in a much better position right now culturally with Brett Venables. I know that they've kind of had a little bit disappointing of a year, but I do believe that Oklahoma is going in the right direction, and that SEC transition can be a little bit difficult. But this is another thing where I think it's pointing towards a little bit uncertainty going on at USC. Things are trending down right now for the Trojans, while things are trending up for the Buffs. And again, this is something that USC can offer. You had to go find this USC game this past weekend on the Big Ten Network. Colorado, most likely, we'll see what happens with Kansas, this Kansas game coming up on Black Friday, but they will likely play every single game this year on network television in prime spots, or main network ESPN in prime spots for that. So you're getting at maximum exposure. You're not being hidden on ESPN Plus or the Big Ten Network or anything like that for any of these games. I think things are trending really in the right direction to land Julian Lewis. I think that his visit here really did leave a strong impression. But again, guys, this is just one report. We'll have to see what comes of this, but I think that this is something really I'm raising an eyebrow at it. I feel good. I just take this as good news in the favor of the Buffs. That's how I look at it. I would love Julian Lewis to be a Buff, and I think that we're in need of some star power after this year, right? Travis Hunter going to the NFL, Shedeur Sanders going to the NFL. Hopefully we see all four of our starting wide receivers drafted. I think the odds are looking very good for LeJontay Wester, as well as long as we continue to play well for Jimmy Horn and Will Shepherd. So theoretically, you can go to a program where you're one of the most watched teams every single week. You get the most eyeballs on you every single week. With a guy like Julian Lewis, you have true NIL potential, which is just very, very that is very rare. Like, not collective potential, but you're talking about similar to Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders. They have these national endorsements, these NIL deals. Nike, let's talk about Nike, right? This is a really unique opportunity to where this puts him in position not only to get a good deal from the collective, which by all reports that Phillips Dukes has said throughout the fall, CU is going to be right there with USC, Indiana, Auburn to be competitive in a financial package for Julian Lewis. And then we also have all these other things, the brand growth that can happen. And again, I'm just feeling very, very confident in where this is going. I have felt good about it since the summer. And I would love to see, hopefully, this wrap up soon, because a star coming out of high school like Julian Lewis officially flipping his commitment to Colorado and then signing, of course, on early National Signing Day. If that happens, I think that that's going to continue to attract not only some blue chip players from high school, but I do believe that that's going to attract really high-end, high-potential transfers with multiple years of eligibility left as well. As you know, that's kind of how we've built things. We, yes, have gone after a handful of seniors that have been really helping this defense take a step beyond, I'm pretty sure, pretty much everybody's expectations this year. But we've also brought in a lot of guys with 2-3 years left. And still, we could bring back the majority of our offensive line next year while adding to it. So I think that this is a great piece of news for Buffs fans. And you got to wonder, where is, or where are the Hoosiers going to go? How are they going to respond to this? Is this something in which we will see this piece of news change throughout this week? Will they put the full court press on? Well, I don't know. Does this raise questions about Curt Cignetti's future? I think it very well could raise some questions. And like he said, Google me. I have won everywhere I've been. And definitely with some coaching positions probably changing in the Big Ten and SEC after this season, I think that a guy like Curt Cignetti is going to be a hot ticket item in the SEC. And for some of those Big Ten programs, if we are to see some coach firings like we are every single year. But again, as this year's gone on, I've just felt more and more confident, that Colorado is the place for Coach Prime. I've always felt as if he returns to coach beyond this year. I think at minimum he fills out his contractual obligation here. But hopefully George and the rest of the boosters, they are working on a significant extension for him so that, Boulder can be his home. He's comfortable. This is the perfect environment for a coach like him. And I think, again, why, when you've already built something from 1-11 now towards on the cusp of making a conference championship game or, on the bubble right now in the college football playoff, why do you want to go somewhere and start that process all over again? The quicker Colorado got to winning, I thought it would be better for Coach Prime, and I think we're in Colorado, and I think we're on that trajectory right now. So I'll go ahead and get to some of your guys' comments. Again, please be sure to subscribe. That really helps what we're building here at David Talks Buffs. We're on our way to 10,000, which is just insane. Trying to get there by my birthday, I suppose. So here at the end of November. So really, really do appreciate it. If you do want to ensure I respond to a comment, feel free to send me a super chat, a cup of coffee. And oh my gosh, man, Bishop Frank, hope you're doing well today, my man. Thank you for the consistent support. It's always good to see you. Oh yeah, that's right. You are a big Sooners fan as well. So OU faith, work, brotherhood, salute, Phil Goldholt. That's what I'm talking about, guys. If you didn't know this, our offensive line coach this year, Phil Goldholt, 10-year NFL veteran, came from OU last year. He was an analyst or an assistant coach for OU, came out here, and he has totally transformed this offensive line and transform the attitude, not just the productivity, but the attitude that these guys play with. And it's about the culture. And I think right now, you're looking at programs on the rise with their culture. Of course, it's Colorado. Of course, it's Indiana. So why would you cancel this Indiana visit? Why is it being reported that he's not going to Indiana? Is it because everything is good to go with Colorado? Because I don't think he would shut down his recruitment right now to affirm his commitment to USC. I just don't see it. Now, granted, I did say over the summer, one benefit that CU had compared to USC is that I think Colorado offers the chance to play early. And with Miller Moss there, that's not necessarily the case. Well, now you've seen Miller Moss is, although he got off to a hot start in that bowl game last year, you know, the play has not been great, right? So could he possibly have that opportunity to play at USC? But also, I would argue right now that he can get better protection playing in the Big 12, playing with another year of this offensive line, working with Coach Volpholt, who, by the way, we need to extend because he is on a one-year contract. He bet on himself, and he's due for a major pay increase, in my opinion. But I think you can get better protection. And I think what this year is going to show is that you don't need to play in the Big Ten or the SEC to be drafted high in the first round in the NFL draft. Likely the first two quarterbacks to go off the board are going to be Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward, Big 12 and ACC quarterbacks. So, and we're going to have probably the best skill set in terms of like a total wide receiver room in the Big 12 moving forward. To me, obviously, I'm biased. I got my CU degree there in the background, right? But to me, it's an obvious decision that this thing is continuing to be on the rise. Let's affirm this commitment. Let's make this thing official. Let's see what other blue chip weapons will want to come here after this is done. But I got to think, man, right now the momentum is moving in a wonderful direction. I'm feeling so good about it. And I think today we saw On3, they reported that Byron Baldwin, who I think was originally crystal balled to Indiana, then crystal balled to Colorado. He's a 4-star safety, right? I think I saw again that he's crystal balled back to Indiana. Like, what is going on with that? But we do have, I think, a couple other safeties or DBs right now committed to CU. So we'll have to see how that goes. But I'm feeling very good about the future of this safety group with Carter Stoutmeyer, Savion Riley, particularly those two with the future of this group after we lose Shiloh and Cameron Silman Craig this offseason. But again, right now, I'm not feeling great about our quarterback room. And granted, if one of these guys that we have in the room right now is a Stetson Bennett, is a guy that kind of comes out of nowhere, or a Baker Mayfield, you know, somebody who starts at one school, transfers out, but then is able to start at another school and make a name for himself, I'm all for that. Just right now, I haven't seen that to be confident. So if you bring in a guy like Julian Lewis or a high-end transfer quarterback, and one of our guys in the room right now beats him out, that's incredible. That's really good. But if there's one position where we should not hold back on making sure we acquire the most talented player possible, it's definitely the quarterback position. I mean, you see how Shedeur covers up for a multitude of sins. We have seen that throughout the last 2 years. We don't win any of these games without him. You guys know that. You guys know that. So Julian Lewis has the opportunity to follow in the footsteps of Shedeur Sanders and truly build a unique legacy for himself. And you could argue, you're going to see, in my opinion, I think you'll see the defense take another step. You'll see the offensive line take another step into this next year. Who's to say? Who's to say they can't be a national title contender during his time with the Buffs, right? That's got to be what you're selling them on. Who's to say? Who's to say? Right now we're on the bubble with a roster that, don't get me wrong, is totally improved. But what's also interesting and I think encouraging is that I don't think we've reached the potential that some of these units on the team can reach given another year or two of recruiting, development, strength training, all of that. So again, Bishop, thank you so much. I really do appreciate the super chat. And this is interesting. Buffs News Weekly. Russ, by the way, catch us with the Buff Splits tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Select QB is about to explode. Select QB coaches, Shedeur Sanders. Coaches, Cam Ward. Coaches, Drones out in Virginia Tech. I'm blanking on his first name. You know who he's also got? Julian Lewis. So that is a connection to keep in mind. I think that you could very well see Julian Lewis end up with a staff that already has a select QB relationship. Obviously, that's CU right now. Not USC, not Indiana, unless you guys know that for some reason Rourke, the starter in Indiana, trains with them. But I don't think that's the case. So I'll get to a few of your comments. But yeah, again, guys, if you're just tuning in right now, please be sure to like, subscribe. We're on our way to 10,000. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll get to a few of these, take any super chats you guys get. Very interesting news. Shelly bringing up an interesting point. Wait, Cignetti was only hired by Indiana in November of 2023. This is his only season coaching Indiana. Would he be hired away already? Well, let's do some research. Let's see what his buyout is. Cignetti agreed to a 6-year contract with an annual base salary of $500,000 in year one. So figure that will increase. Okay, in year one, he will earn $3.5 million in annual outside marketing and promotional income. That's interesting. So he's making $3.5 million. That will increase to $4 million by year 6. He's got incentives for bowl appearance. This is all thanks to SI.com. Okay, so $17 million. Ooh. So yeah, that is a little bit more than what I expected. So maybe he truly does come back for another year or two, which then raises even more questions for me of why he's not going to visit, why it's being reported that he's not going to visit. Again, these guys, they should take their opportunity to go find what program is best for them. And Indiana is one of the best stories in college football this year. But when you got schools and programs like Texas A&M that will pay $100 million plus for a coach not to be there, I think there are, granted, there's not a lot of programs like this, but I think there are some programs that would not blink at a $17 million buyout. They can make that happen. Again, I still would not be surprised to see Florida State move on from Norvell at $60 million, though I think the odds are more in favor of him returning because of that buyout, right? But the fact that I'm not even sure, like 100%, I think goes to show just some of the money, man, that can be truly thrown around. Let's say, hypothetically, Ohio State finishes this year missing the college football playoff. Ryan Day has already disappointed Ohio State fans, regardless if you feel like it's justified, for many years. You don't think a school like OSU, do you think they balk at a $17 million buyout? LSU, not particularly sure. So, yeah, we'll have to see. But I agree, Eric, man. Like right now, the door is wide open for Julian Lewis to come back to come back to Boulder. I think things are looking great. Dave, Texas Tech has weak backfield. We're going to expose that area big time. I think you mean defensive backfield, right? They allow a lot of points, and our Buffs play a lot better on the road, so we're good. Texas Tech quarterback, non-throwing shoulder, a little tender still. Yes, we got to get to him again. I do feel good about this matchup. This is not a matchup, though, where it's like CSU, where I'm like, man, we're going to blow these guys out. Texas Tech, man, they're going to bring it, man, especially after I think a confidence-boosting win against Iowa State last week. It's going to be a fun game. Hopefully, it's very high scoring for the Buffs. That's what I'm hoping for. But I feel good, man. As long as we can protect two. I think you guys brought up last night, last in the Big 12 in sacks. Is that true? So as long as we give Shedeur time, I mean, that's the key to every game. But let me get back to this piece again, guys. If you're missing it, Jim Coyle of thehoosier.com, local beat reporter, reporting on the Indiana Hoosiers, is reporting this afternoon that Julian Lewis is not going to be in Bloomington on Saturday for the Indiana football game against Michigan. Quite shocking. What happened to Tajay McCoy? I don't know. Maybe you guys update me. I haven't seen anything. He's been playing really good. Hey, thanks so much again, Bishop. Really appreciate the cup of coffee. Saying, see you, Buffs. Never flinch. Big salute. David talks Buffs. Hey, this is wonderful news to talk about. I like getting on and speculating what this could mean. Again, guys, this is just one report. We need to see this verified. It'd be nice to see other outlets come out and start confirming this now. But I do find this very interesting. This isn't somebody like who is that loser from Athlon? On the other side of the country, for some reason, reporting on this team, not understanding what the word strat means, and then of course, no other publication, no other journalist is confirming those things. Steve Cordell or something like that, some loser that's now reporting all these positive things about Colorado because he's just in it for clicks and views. Now, Jim Coyle isn't like that. Like, this is a guy that is in Bloomington, that covers this team every day. So this holds more weight than just some random report coming out of somewhere. Nah, I think this thing, he wouldn't come out if this didn't have serious legs to it. But yeah, Coach Barry, you're definitely right. Like, we need some more dogs at safety. I'd like to see some more depth. Dominique Ponder, 6'5", 185 pounds, walk-on freshman quarterback, but has leaped some scholarship players now to be third on the depth chart. That is something to take note of. And so if there's anybody from this roster right now that I think can be a surprise quarterback, from the likes of, again, Baker Mayfield, Stetson Bennett, right, was originally a walk-on. It's him. So Ed Reed brought over him. I didn't know that. From Georgia Tech. Because wasn't he at Georgia Tech last year? And I do think, as much as I would love Coach Prime to win Coach of the Year, you got to give it to Curt Cignetti right now, as long as they continue to do what they're doing. I think you got to give it to him. I had some friends, from high school that went to Indiana. I kind of lost touch with them, but I'm sure they're thrilled about what's going on, because the Hoosiers, they're not, they're not a football school traditionally. And Russ, you're putting this out perfectly. Yeah. The relationship with Cordell Stewart, Scotty McKnight, again, former Buff who is filming his documentary, Juju's dad, and his relationship with Coach Prime, QB Select. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things pointing towards CU officially flipping soon, I think, this five-star quarterback. And don't give a damn. Just saying it in one sentence, what I've been saying here for 30 minutes, doing it much better. Juju is canceled because he is probably a silent commit. That's my hope. That's my hope. Corey Minor coming in here. People don't realize how much money Indiana has. Their donors will step up for a winning football coach like they do for basketball. Okay. Okay. Well, let's see it. Let's see it. I am a fan of new powerhouse programs in college football. So if Curt Cignetti, if he stays there for a long time, that is very exciting. I think that's good for college football. And the Big Ten needs another consistent player in the Big Ten. That's how I feel about it. So although we're in a recruiting battle for this 5-star quarterback, there's a lot that I like Indiana with. But what fluke season? Hey, we'll have to see. I disagree, Nav, but I can understand why you say that. It's not like they're facing a bunch of these dynamic offenses, right? But hey, we'll see what happens here soon. We'll have an answer here this month on what's going to go on. Tajay was at practice on well off. Okay, that's good to know. Surprise Cignetti's buyouts as low as it is. Yeah, I did see that, Brady B. Yeah, that Byron Baldwin 4-star safety crystal ball back to Indiana by Steve Wiltfong. Hilarious, man. I love it, man. There's I hope we see more of this recruiting news just in general starting to heat up because I just find it incredibly entertaining. So, I was thrilled when he was crystal balled out here. But again, Cignetti, he's definitely a coach you want to play for as well. So it happens. Yes, exactly. The Texas Truth. I didn't realize Ponder was a freshman. We might have something there. I think he's a redshirt freshman, correct? But yeah, that may be. Again, I don't want us to forego bringing in more and more quarterback talent. But if he's that guy, then he's that guy. You know, he'll show it. He'll beat out these guys. That's how I feel about it. The better the competition, the better starting player you're going to get. That's how I see it. Yeah, it's very true. Prime doesn't want to prove all the naysayers right. Yeah, like Stephen A. Smith, man. That guy's I love Stephen A., man, but that guy's an idiot when it comes to college football. I really do wonder if he actually watches any college football. Yeah, but we've played one ranked opponent. That's very true. We've played one ranked opponent right now. Now, was Nebraska ranked when we played them? I'm trying to remember. But anyways, right now, when you look at our schedule, we've played Kansas State. They were ranked. So, and I don't even think UCF was ranked when we played them, right? So, yeah, you could say we had a weak schedule too. Nonetheless, Colorado, Indiana, these are some of the best stories in college football. And, hey, may the best program win. Julian Lewis's commitment. But I'm feeling good right now, man. I'm feeling good. Smash that like if you're feeling good. I love it. I'm tired of the Julian Lewis talk. We don't need him. Maybe not, but I like our chances of winning more with a player like this. It's not bad. It can't be negative. I don't know. FSU was trying to pony up the money to leave the ACC. What was that, over $100 million? So I think they could do it. Now, could they do it and pay like an insane exit fee to leave the ACC? Yeah, I don't know about that one. They might have to pick and choose if they truly do want to move on from Norvell. But similar to what Brian Gregory said, I had him on the channel last Wednesday of the Era. Go subscribe to him. He does great college football content. He was talking about how, hey, he brought them back from 1-11 before. Maybe you give them one more shot to do it, right? And I think probably with the price of that buyout, you do that. So yeah, we'll have to see. Let's see here. There's a couple more comments. I'll get to it. If not, I'm going to shut it down, get back to doing some work. But guys, I had to come in here, man, and just give my take. DeAndre Binion saying it's a fake report. He will be here in Bloomington. I live here, and nothing notable said he was not coming. Well, I mean, Jim Coyle, pretty notable. So, is Jim Coyle just kind of known as like a loser? I don't know. I would imagine. What does he say? Indiana's most watched YouTube sports show, and covers Indiana for the Hoosier.com. I would say that that's something to keep note of. But yeah, let me know if Indiana fans hate this guy. I just really had no idea, but I thought that this was very notable. Looks like all the comments here in the chat, it's just all Colorado fans. But this guy saying it's pretty apparent this kid will not be attending Indiana. This Indiana sports fan saying he's going to Colorado. Whoever keeps saying that he is coming every other week needs to STFU then. Cignetti out there after the season with Michigan, Auburn, UF, and Oklahoma come calling? Okay. Or Oklahoma State? Nah, dude. We'll have to see. Yeah, Louis luggage. I'll like that one. Buff. I'll go for it. He gone? Maybe. But anyways, I'm gonna keep my eye on this. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, and that's what I don't understand, like, about beat reporters. Again, these guys, they see they're right there in the area. Like, there's a lot more to risk if you're just putting something out there for clicks that isn't true. Like, you have a real reputation at stake. But yeah, maybe some Indiana fans can fill us in on, hey, maybe this guy is actually just full of crap all the time. Let me refresh my Twitter feed here before I shut things down. We'll see if there's anything else notable. Apologies. I also follow the Broncos, so you'll see some NFL stuff here on this feed. I've never had insomnia cookies, Gucci, but I do love crumble. Me and Colin had some. Dude. That's not really seeing anything. So yeah, there is this on 3. Dalvin saying on follow. Man. Yeah, but Byron Baldwin, crystal balled back to Indiana. So we'll see how that. Yeah, I don't follow these dudes till they arrive either, man. So yeah, not seeing any updates with this. So we'll have to see how it goes, guys. This is all very, very interesting. Nonetheless, man, I think if someone said it here in the comments, if we go 10-2, Juju's a buff. I totally believe that. I think that happens. So yeah, guys, I think things are going in the right direction here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Maybe I'll do a video later tonight on the college football playoff rankings. I would assume that we see CU included in the rankings to some level, since we're at number 21 right now in the AP poll. Prime number 21, which is great. So be sure not only to smash the like and subscribe, but hit that bell notification so you guys know when I drop a video or go live. Again, big shout out to Bishop Frank for the $5.55 for the multiple cups of coffee. Greatly appreciate it. You guys have a wonderful day. As always, go Buffs.